Good morning. This is Faith in Our Hometown, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin. And now, here's your host, Father Jay Friedel.
Good morning and welcome back to Faith in Our Hometown, our discussion of issues of faith and how they impact our lives as people of the greater Joplin area. This morning I'm really happy because we are doing greater Joplin area this morning. Many times we are, a lot of our shows center around Joplin and those kinds of things, but today we're going to look a little bit about what's going on in Carthage. Today's going to be one of our shows that talks about some of the excellent work that's being done on behalf of the community by some of the different groups around the area. And today my guest is going to be Reverend Jim Benton, who's the Executive Director of the Carthage Crisis Center. So we'll welcome you here in a moment here, Jim. We're going to be talking a little bit about what goes on over in that area. And again, hopefully some more opportunities for volunteering, hopefully a few more opportunities for supporting ministries that may somehow touch our hearts, that we want to support in one way, shape, form, or another. So we're going to be right back after this Mercy Minute. Please stay tuned and stick with us. And again, we'll be right back with Reverend Jim Benton of the Carthage Crisis Center.
Find out how a Mercy doctor can take care of you. At Mercy, your life is our life's work. Quality, safety, and an exceptional patient experience. Mercy is grateful to be recognized as one of the top 15 health systems in the United States. At Mercy, your life is our life's work.
So welcome back. Again, my guest this morning is Reverend Jim Benton, of the Executive Director of the Carthage Crisis Center. So Jim, welcome. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, thanks so much for the welcome. I'm really excited to be here with you today. I'm a big fan of the show, so it's great for me to be on tonight, this morning, and to share with you what's going on at the Crisis Center.
Good.
We've been there for about a year, my wife and I. The Bisbees are the founder. They were there for 13 years.
So your previous directors.
That's right, Marilyn and Brian Bisbee. Great people and did a great job of laying a wonderful foundation. And actually, the Carthage Center started in 1996 with a group of interested ministers in the Carthage area, really wanting to do something for the homeless. And so they started in a small building, and then in about 2009, we're in our present building where we have over 42,000 square feet.
Wow. Now, where is that in Carthage? Full disclosure, I know that most of the time my tag says, Pastor St. Peter the Apostle Catholic Church, but I'm also the pastor of St. Anne's in Carthage. And so, I have a very vested interest in making sure you guys do good work and keep the community, help keep it glued together. So where are you located over there?
Carthage is a great community.
It is.
And the people are so very much involved. We're located just north of the square. Our address is 100 Main Street.
Okay.
It's around the corner of Central and Main. It's an old building that was given to us by Leggett and Platt.
Great.
Part of that was H.E. Williams building, but it's a great building and it serves us well for what we do. I've been in homeless ministry for probably about a dozen years in different capacities in Springfield, Newark, New Jersey, which is another story in
Springfield,
itself.
Newark, just like this.
Just like that,
this.
exactly. But what I've discovered is that every homeless mission has a similar program. There are people who need a place for the night. They come in, they're looking for a bed and something to eat, and then they can get up and go the next day. Others need...
These kind of like people who are passing through the area, just kind of pass them through. Yeah?
Exactly. But there are other people who the reason why they're homeless is because of substance abuse, and so they have a recovery program. Well, the Crisis Center is kind of a hybrid between the two, so that we're not necessarily looking for the person just come for one night, but we're actually looking for people who want to examine the reason why they're there and begin to get the help so that they can return to self-sufficiency with God's help, which is our mission. That's our mission statement.
That's your mission statement.
Exactly.
It rolled off really easy, so you must be following it.
Well, so far so good.
Good. So a combination, some just pass through ministry, people just looking for a night and a meal and all that kind of good stuff, which that's a basic ministry of hospitality.
Exactly.
Okay, and then, but also, and I guess and I would bet the tougher part of that, of course, is the engaging people if they're having some kind of an issue, especially with substance abuse. What if the issues like mental illness or something like that? Do you pass those people, or you try to triage and pass those to other places, or how do we do with some
we
of
want to
that?
be all things to all men to win some,
Yeah.
but there are some issues that we just can't handle.
Right.
My wife and I are the primary staff that's there. We actually live in the crisis center, so we have an apartment that's just off the main entrance. So we're trying to build community. Right. And with someone who is unpredictable in their behavior, it's difficult to have them in that community. And so we're often able to refer them. But there are great resources available for them as well.
Good. So tell us a little bit about the substance abuse program. What do you do to help people recognize that they got an issue and start working on it?
Sure. We're kind of an intermediary step in the process. If there's someone who recognizes their issue, they want to get better, then they can come to us, and we have 3 required meetings that they go to. We have a Saturday night Bible study. We have Sunday morning, there are area churches that they go to. They can go to the church of their choice. But on Mondays, they go to Celebrate Recovery. And that's really where they have an opportunity to be in the community of people who are like-minded, where they can find the help they need. Our goal is to keep them on track so that we provide accountability. Every time they leave our center, they have to sign in, sign out. We're making sure that they're there for their chores. Everybody that comes to us has a chore there at the center, so that we're an environment that works. It's a place that works. A double meaning there, so that it works to help people get established again, but also that they're working. Work is very valuable. It's something that allows us to feel good about ourselves, and so we give them an opportunity to do chores, whether it's dishes, mopping, sweeping. We actually collect recycling, so that some of the guys will work the baler. We collect cans, all of these different things, and then we use those and recycle, and we get money for those, and that's one of the ways we get support at the center.
Yeah, the dignity of human work is one of those just things that is so underrated, because it always helps people to feel like they're contributing something when they find some work to do, whether it be volunteer, but especially when they can, support themselves, support their family, especially if that's something they've struggled with. Yeah. And that's a great moment in their lives when they can turn that corner and be able to do some of those things.
It really is. And I'm amazed at how therapeutic the center can be. We had a young girl that came to us several weeks ago, and on her entrance application, we asked her the normal questions, but then she wrote, "I'm broken." And it just hit me when I saw that. And what happens, she's pregnant, she's got 4 other kids, had been a substance abuser, everything had turned her, she'd lost everything in her life, everything important to her, and she came to us just broken. But it was at that moment when people hit the bottom that we can begin to lift them up. And so she came there, really involved in our Celebrate Recovery, in Bible studies, extra Bible studies. She wants to volunteer. In fact, recently she volunteered at another ministry down the street from us, River Street, to help people that are poor to get food. And all of that together, she's beginning to be healed. Yeah. And that's really what we want for everybody that comes to us.
Great. Great. So your clientele, mostly from the Joplin area, from all over the place? Where are they coming from?
We focus on the greater Joplin area. Carthage, of course, is a great place where people can start over again. There are a lot of manufacturing jobs, and so people come to us. There's a great number of letters that we get from people who are in jails all around the state of Missouri. We're kind of limited on what we can take because, we could fill our beds with everyone coming out of the prison system, but that's not what we're designed for. So we have a couple that come in from time to time, and some of them are from different areas, but they want to relocate to the Carthage, Joplin area, and we're a good place for them to start. But yeah, mostly they're from Southwest Missouri.
Yeah. From the area mostly, that's what we have. Good. So, like for example, what's your typical census? What's your typical, how many folks you got in residence at a given point in time?
As of the last time I checked, we had 31 that were there. We have 8 single beds for women. We have 16 beds for men. And then we have 5 family rooms.
Oh, great.
So we can have families, so we take men, women, and children. If a family comes together that's intact, the father stays in the men's dorm just because we don't want them in that
Sure.
other
Well, it's
part,
just
of,
hard
part of
to-
the building.
yeah,
Exactly.
and for people to feel
Yeah.
secure and safe.
Exactly,
Sure.
exactly. But it works well. And again, what we've set up family tables in the dining hall. So if a family is there, whether it's mom and kids or mom, dad, and kids, we want them to eat together because that evening meal, the conversations about the day, how things went, what happened at school, those kinds of things. We want the families to be involved in that. There's all kinds of studies that have shown how important that is. Likewise with my family, we sit at the table. The men sit at another table, the single men, the single women, so that they can again build community because that's what we want to do.
Well, and again, that having a, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's the reason why we have the church just generically, is because it's easier when you've got the aid and the support of other people who are about the same thing you are being about. And so for them to be able to form those small groups that are going to give them that support seems pretty important.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Community is a big thing. I know in the early church they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to the fellowship, to breaking of bread, and to prayer. And so that's what we want to do. We want to be able to include all of those as a part of our daily routine.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier that, on Sunday morning everybody goes to a church of their choice. So, I mean, it's not like, you're just trying to say, okay, well, now we want you to be the Carthage Crisis Center church, but you're basically saying, all the different churches in there, whatever their belief systems happen to be. I think it's one of the things that we truly try to promote on the show, is to say, we can all work together to do some things. Where's most of your support come from?
Well, we have a lot of churches in the area that support us, and then individuals. And in the Carthage community, there are a lot of businesses that also support us.
Good.
Brian, the previous executive director, was able to establish a food network, and so he went to some major manufacturers in the area to see if he could get large donations. And then he would get them, and then they would be farmed out to the other ministries. And that's one of the things that we still do. Last year, we gave away 500,000 pounds of food. So sometimes we'll go down to Tyson, pick up chicken.
Right.
It'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of 8,000 pounds of chicken, which I eat pretty good, but it'd be tough to get all 8,000 pounds. So we give some of that away.
Yeah.
And then we also have Hostess that'll give us some donuts that we get or some other food. So we don't have to spend very much on our food budget, which is really
great.
nice because we get so much given to us.
Well, you can spend the money in the other areas, in other ways.
Exactly. We're also part of Ozarks Food Harvest.
Right.
And so they allow us to pick up goods from a Walmart, and then we use the stuff that's expiring, whatever else. But we have some people who are really creative in how they can cook, and they can take those things that are just on the edge, cook them up, and we get great meals.
Well, we do the same thing, and we've got some of the same sources that we use in local food pantries and soup kitchens and all those kinds of things, which I think is really, really important. One of the things I think our community responds very, very well to, and has in my 10 years here, is that our folks will feed folks. I mean, they don't want anybody going hungry.
Yep.
And even though they sometimes will struggle with, well, do I want to support this program ideologically or this program ideologically? One of the ones that we get very little pushback on is feeding people. People just seem to say, well, nobody should go hungry. There's enough food around here. We can feed everybody.
Yep.
And we don't even have to ask a lot of questions about why they're hungry. We can just go ahead and do it.
That's
and I think
right.
that's a great thing.
And we do the same thing. We have people that come from the community that eat with us as well. We have a guest area that they can come and sit there, as well as the other families that are around.
Good.
And it's wonderful to see the gratitude that they express. Because again, a lot of them, we're the only meal that they get during that day.
Well, I'm going to talk to you in the next segment about a little bit more about Carthage and the way that works in Carthage, because I'm relatively new there in that community myself, even though I've been in the greater area for 10 years. So when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about how you feel that Carthage, community coming together to support. Maybe there's some way that we can help you a little bit too. But we'll figure out how to do some of those things. We're going to be we're here today with Reverend Jim Benton from the Carthage Crisis Center. He's the executive director, new there for about a year. And we're going to be right back in just a moment. Don't go away. This is Faith in Our Hometown. Stick around.
You're watching Faith in Our Hometown on KSN TV, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.
So welcome back. Jim, it's good to have you here with us this morning. We were just talking a little bit about how a community comes together to do some of those things and how a community shares its resources. So tell me a little bit more about how some of that works in Carthage. What are some of the cooperative ventures that you have going and the different ways that you mentioned some of the business community and providing food? What are some of the other ways that you've been able to unlock the corporate heart of Carthage to do some of those things? Because I need to hear some of those.
Yeah, sure. Again, the previous director really built some great relationships with people. We needed to put in an elevator. We have 4 stops in one of our elevators, and right now we're taking boxes of donations and other things and carrying them upstairs, and it's just killing us. So we went to a family and asked them if they would be willing to donate the money to buy an elevator. The price tag was about $175,000 to fix 2 elevators, and they said okay.
Wow.
So it's amazing that we have those kinds of relationships and those kinds of people who are able to do that. But it's the people who give every day. It's the checks that I go and see every day, and it's the widow's mite. It's the one woman who sends in $10 a month that I appreciate so much, and I'm so grateful for the way that the community has responded. I think because the Crisis Center started out with a vision of about 13 different churches. I think the churches have come involved.
Were we one of those churches? Was St. Anne's one of those churches? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, you know what? I
don't know.
I have to say I don't know.
I don't know either. But I'm going to find out after this conversation. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know the whole 13. Okay. Again, I've only been there a year, but thanks for bringing that up. Anyway,
sorry.
No, that's fine. What also happens in the community is that we started recycling. So we collect cardboard. So people stop all the time and bring their cardboard. We bale it, and then we sell it per ton, and we get money there. We have a thrift store that we opened up just about a year ago, and that's another thing. The people are so incredible that we have, 20,000 square feet of storage space that's full. We have a basement that's almost full. We have so many people that come in and drop stuff, we almost don't know what to do with it, but we're so grateful that people come. And so we'll have a parking lot sale or an auction or something else, but we have a great store that helps supply what we need financially, and again, great people who come in and shop, great people that give. It's just a great community. Sounds like utopia, doesn't it?
You know, at least to start on it. I mean, because we're never going to get there unless we keep doing the things day to day that we need to do. Because, I mean, you can't change a community or the world or people's attitudes overnight. You can only do it one little piece at a time. And, and obviously, there's been 13 years plus now of goodwill, of trying to say to a community, hey, we can do this. We can help some of these people who otherwise would fall through the cracks. Yep. And again, for many of us, so many of us, that's an issue of faith. It's not just, it's the convenient thing to do, or it's not just the propitious thing to do, but it's what we're doing as people of faith to make a difference, because we believe that God wants us to do this. I mean, this is, in effect, God's work.
Yep.
And so how do we do it all? So in terms of building those relationships. So what do you need? What are you working on now? What are your big dreams, and what do you need from the people of the greater area?
Thanksgiving's right around the corner, and so we have people that come in. We serve about 500 meals on Thanksgiving Day, about 250 there at the Crisis Center, but then we deliver meals. So a lot of people that don't have that available to them. So for all of November, we've been bringing people and attracting them to come and be a part of that. But you can call the center, and if you want to volunteer to either serve or help prepare or help deliver or any of those things, I think we have still a couple of openings that people can call and be a part of that event.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's the yearly thing. That's the Thanksgiving thing.
Right.
What directives or initiatives do you have, like, that you're hoping to do with the center? Or is this one of those years of just strengthening what you got?
I would say it's more strengthening what we've got.
Okay.
We want to add some evening programming, and so we're looking at volunteer churches who would come in and do the meal, actually prepare it and serve it, and then stick around and maybe do a Bible study or something like that with the residents that are there. Yeah. Right now, in the evening after supper time, on Tuesday through Friday, there's nothing scheduled for the residents at that point in time. Okay. And so they sit in the parking lot and they smoke or do whatever. But sometimes you can get into trouble when you're not where you're supposed to be. And this would help, I think, in the long run.
Sure.
Just to give them something else, another opportunity to hear either the gospel or some principle about life, something that's going to help them in their issue.
Sure. And I think that's Well, I mean, we've always known that about kids. We've always known that about people who, don't have something to do. My mother was a big one for that. It's just like, if you don't know what you're doing, then you're not going. She's like, you're just not going to go hang out.
Sounds like my parents too.
I know. It's just like, you're not going to go do that.
Right.
And I think that there is some wisdom to that, just
Absolutely.
in terms of helping for those things. So again, if a church in the Carthage area or even the greater, Joplin area would want to maybe volunteer to cook a meal or to come maybe do some evening programming, that'd be another thing that they could contact you about.
That would be perfect. That would be perfect.
Yeah. So you said you've been in Carthage now for about a year.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep,
So just your impressions of the community as a place of faith. What do you just, because you're new. I mean, I've only been in Carthage a year, but it's unfair for me to comment on because I've been in the greater area for 10.
Sure.
So.
I was born on the West Coast, raised on the East Coast, and we've settled here in the middle. What I've noticed about the East Coast, we were in Newark, New Jersey for about 6 years. And you can't really compare Newark to Carthage.
Really?
There were a lot of churches there, but there's something about the small town nature of Carthage and the fact that the community comes together for so many different things, as well as the crisis center, that we just love it. We have 3 kids. One lives in Springfield, one in Florida, and one in Houston, Texas. And my wife's trying to get our son in Houston, Texas, and his wife to come and move to Carthage. So he's always looking for jobs for him.
Oh, there you go.
Because that's how much we love Carthage.
Oh, good.
We'd love to have, we'd love to kind of settle here, bring more family close by, because the community it's a great community. That's what we've discovered.
Well, I've been, I've just enjoyed, my interactions. Carthage, to me, at least where we are at St. Anne's, is like, I know Carthage is a decent sized city, but St. Anne's has still got kind of a country parish feel to it, which is nice.
Sure.
So I mean, it's not so big that everybody gets lost, and there really is a sense of family, there. Our community, of course, is built up of about, half Hispanics and half Guatemalans, plus a smattering of a few other, Central American, South American people, and then also, some of those families then have been there for generations. Their families helped found the parish, and they still have their roots in there for forever and ever, and so it's just such a wonderful mix of big, small, brown, white. I mean, which is it's a great mixture for what it is, and I just really enjoy that part about Carthage.
And we do too. And around Christmas time last year, there was a flood in Kendricktown, just north of us, and there were about 38 Guatemalans that lost their housing. And Catholic Charities stepped in and took care of them, but they were running out, and so they brought them to us, and so we found room for them on our second floor. So for a couple of nights, we almost tripled in size of where we were, and we had to set up cots and little rooms, but the families were there, and they were so appreciative.
But you had space, and you had it.
Exactly.
I mean, now granted, not optimal for that all the time, but I mean, at least there was somebody there to be able to respond because you guys had this structure. That's one of the things that sometimes I always chuckle when people say, which is like, well, I just don't like organized religion, and it's just like, well, sometimes I don't like it either, but. It at least gives us the ability to respond when those kinds of things happen. Yep. Where without the structure, where am I going to go? I mean, I want to make a donation, but I don't even know where to take it because there's no structure. There's nothing. There's nothing we can do with it. There's no way to mobilize to take care of the problems when they occur. But for those of us who have structure, that's a blessing. It's cursed sometimes, but most of the time it's a blessing because we can respond in those moments. And you're able to respond because you've got the building, and you've got a large one, and you've got the capacity to stretch when you need to do some of those things. Yeah. Again, it's great to hear.
And I think the blessing, there's actually some biblical principles having to do with some sort of ministry to the poor. I'm amazed. Jeremiah 22:16 is King Josiah, the prophet's describing him, and it says, he defended the cause of the poor and needy, so all went well. Isn't that what it means to know me, declares the Lord? So I want to get to know God better, and so apparently from that scripture, I'm supposed to be a defender of the cause of the poor and needy. Yeah. And when I do that, when I engage people, and when you give of yourself, when you give to other people, when you give to the poor, especially the people who can't repay you, there is a blessing in that you get, whether it's a biblical principle or just a life principle. It's something that you can really enjoy.
Yeah, and and again, there's a joy in giving. I mean,
absolutely.
Sometimes I get frustrated because people are like, well, I just don't want to get, and I'm just like, but haven't you figured out that biblical principle that's really a paradox, that if you learn to give yourself away, you'll wind up with a whole lot more than you had when you were trying to just save it all for yourself.
Exactly right.
And when you're in a position to be able to make a difference, it's an amazing thing, to be able to do some of that. So if people want to get in touch with you, give everybody a phone number, how they can get in touch with their website or whatever.
Our phone number, of course, 417-358-3533.
Okay, one more time.
417-358-3533. Or CarthageCrisisCenter.org.
Okay.
There's all the information there.
CarthageCrisisCenter.org.
Yep. And all the pictures of our building and our facility and some great testimonies and all kinds of stuff there. So great way to find us.
I hope you got the chili and the soup that we sent over last week. I guess it was last week. But I mean, when we did our chili supper, again, one of those just simple thing. Well, we have leftovers. You can use them.
And we get them all the time.
Well,
I mean, it's amazing how God supplies on a daily basis.
Leftovers. Well, you don't get them from us on a daily basis, but when we got them.
We love leftovers.
That's good. It's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So again, this morning I've been here with Reverend Jim Benton from the Executive Director of the Carthage Crisis Center. We are going to be coming right back in just a moment after this Mercy Minute.
If there's a family history of breast cancer, especially breast cancer at an early age, that's a very high risk factor for breast cancer, and those patients should have early surveillance and should be aware of some of the signs and symptoms of early breast cancer. Other risk factors would include maintaining an optimal weight. If one carries excess weight, that increases baseline estrogen levels, and that seems to increase the risk of breast cancer. Those would be the main risk factors.
Well, once again, we thank you for joining us this morning for Faith in Our Hometown. My guest this morning has been the Reverend Jim Benton, who's the Executive Director of the Carthage Crisis Center. One of the great themes that we kind of just stumbled upon this morning is the fact that, ministries that get homegrown, that grow up because we in our church communities start seeing a need and we start trying to respond. So 13 churches in the Carthage area, who shall remain nameless, but not in spirit, they're not, because what they came together with a vision for suddenly came together and resulted in a center that now does ministry of hospitality for people who are passing through, and especially does a lot of hard work with folks who have gotten entangled in substance abuse issues and are looking to make the difference in their lives. It's wonderful to see a homegrown ministry grow up and continue to expand and to do all of those things that we're supposed to do. It's another example of us putting our faith into action. This is Faith in Our Hometown. Come back and join us again next week.
Thanks for watching. Faith in Our Hometown can be seen Sunday mornings at 6:30 and 9 a.m. on KSN. Brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.